I'm pleased to be joined with Virginia Spence, part of the Courageous Heart Ministries here in Winnipeg. And we're just going to be chatting about, what you guys are doing and your heart behind it, because we love just seeing how God is moving through the city of Winnipeg. So, first off, what is the Courageous Heart Ministries?
So the Courageous Heart, the way that we see it, and it may sound kind of naive to some people, but we believe that when you've gone through a challenge in your life and you have overcome something, let's say addiction or family trauma or violence, and you choose to follow the Lord out, you choose to stand on your own, come through that fire, those hearts, those people that choose to go back into that landscape or situation and bring others out, by way of helping them become sober, helping them overcome the same obstacles, showing them the pathway to recovery, whatever that means to them, those are courageous hearts. So that's kind of the meaning behind our ministry. The scripture that goes with it is Joshua 9:1, and it talks about strength and courage. And so, um, when my husband first, we came back to the city out of Bible school, and we were just kind of, I had a lot of physical illness for whatever reason, bursitis and stuff, and I wasn't walking very well. So he was going to school. We were on social assistance. Um, and he was walking back and forth from around Broadway area down to the Aboriginal Centre, way down on Main and Higgins. And so every day he would walk down and he'd come back. And he said on the way there, he ran into so many people going down Main Street, and he would just be praying for them. And he would do this every single day. And he came back, let's see, January, February, March. He came back in March, and he just started to cry. And I said to him, "What are you doing? What's happening?" And he said, "These people that I'm meeting," he said, "the people that I'm praying for, these are people that I recognize from my community, family members, people that I met here in the city. Maybe, he had shared some of the lifestyle with them." He said, "I just want to do something for them." And I said, "You know what?" I said, "What's happening right now?" I said, "God is placing a burden on your heart for these people." I said, "What do you want to do?" He said, "I don't know, but I have to do something." And so he prayed about it for a little while. And in April of that year, we decided to open up a little room at, I think it was Broadway Crossways Church there. And we grabbed a little box of Tim Hortons and a box of donuts, and we had 3 or 6 Bibles donated from Read the Word, Ryan. And we picked those up, and we just went to, made a few little posters and opened up our meeting. And we thought it would be recovery, AA 12 steps kind of thing. Every single person that came there was 3 men and a guitar player. Every single person that came there because they wanted to learn the word of God. They
Wow.
wanted to know more about the Bible picture on the poster. One gentleman had been inside Stony Mountain for quite a few years, and that was the Bible that he was reading, and he wanted somebody to help him learn more. Another man was always around praying for people, and he just wanted to encourage the work that we were doing. So that's kind of how we started. Then within a few months, there was like 22 to 25 people in my living room in a 1-bedroom apartment, and they were asking for a church. So we just kind of listened to them and what the Lord was doing, and we changed our venue to 242 Manitoba. And we were there up until the pandemic. And so, I mean, the Lord has just been doing things level by level. And in 2018, we incorporated, we became a charities, we have a charity status number. He's just been making a way for us. And I had no idea when I started the paperwork for my husband. He said to me, "You just do the paperwork, I'll do the rest." Well, that's the paperwork
Changed
piece
a
of
little
it
bit.
just keeps going. That's right.
Wow.
So it's been growing, and I mean, we have our constitution, we have the charities status, the foundation that I mean, there's pieces and parts that I didn't even know were a part of ministry. We have our faithful account person. He helps me get through the taxes every year. And so I'm growing in the background. And my husband does a lot of the praying on the street, and he's just faithful about going down to Portage Place area and praying for people. People recognize him, they call him preacher or pastor, or they just have different words for him, and they'll ask for prayer. And I remember one time I went with him to, I think he was lining up to pray for people at Union Gospel Mission in the parking lot there. And this lady came up to me and she started to pull these scarves out of her bag, and she wanted me to have one. And she said, "You know, your husband prayed for me to help me to stay sober. And now," she said, "I'm getting things together and I'm going to have my own place soon." And these people come with these reports of what God is doing in the background. So since then, we've had a season where we've had like anywhere from 15 to 17 baptisms. We've dedicated children. We had a barbecue. I think you guys did a story about that at Love Lives Here, and we fed quite a number of people that day. We just different things in the community. We have a pool night. Sometimes we go together bowling as families. There are a number of people that have just been with us right from the beginning. And then we have our population that's more transient. So they'll just kind of flow through. I know when we were at 242, a lot of the time the door might open and people would come in that were very, very, under the weather. There's a lot going on for them. So we would just, give them some water, say a prayer for them if they would let us pray for them. And then they would, we may never see them again. But it's been a really amazing experience seeing what God does. One of the favorite parts that we like is in the summertime, we'll go out and set up by across from Portage Place at that little circle there. And we have a speaker and a little amp for the guitar, and we just have a microphone we set up there, and people just wait for us. They literally wait for us to come and, come and sing. We've had people singing with us. We've joined other ministries on the street. There's people that come there Tuesdays and Fridays, and, we try and support whoever's there, and bring donations of food, whatever we can do for different families. And there's so many different needs that everybody has. And so, we're trying to be aware of those needs as they change. When it gets colder, you want hot drinks, or you want something for their hands to be warm. You want some winter clothing. In the summer, you might want more hygiene products and stuff. And then we do things every second week for other families. We have like a surplus kind of a food bank, and we just put packages together, and we have people that donate and help out. And so we're always looking for volunteers, anybody who wants to come and help, help out at the house or learn different things with us. We just, whatever people need, that's kind of how our ministry's been. We listen to whoever, like everybody that decided they wanted to go to a church, we did that for a while. And so now we've, since the pandemic, my husband got sick. He went through that experience, and when he recovered, he still had some breathing difficulties. So he can't go into certain spaces. So we needed a space where the air quality was good. And one of the spaces that opened up for us recently was the basement of the St. Matthew's Church, 365 McGee. And so we're working with them there every Thursday. And it's kind of an interesting story. The reason for the Thursday night meetings, and people are always asking us, when is your church? When is your church? And it's always been on a Thursday night, and it's been a Thursday night meeting. And so for me, the reason why I do what I do um, is because of that Thursday night meeting. Um, we moved to Leaf Rapids, and there was a lady that they knew up there, Sister Beardy, and she was the lady who had Bible study every Thursday night. And so we had gone to her house and just to kind of meet her. And she'd asked us, this Thursday night, would you come and would you do the Bible study? And I said, sure. And so she laid her hands on me and she gave me a little prayer. And it was so gentle. And I've never felt anything more gentle in my life. And she gave me this plant. And then we did the Thursday night meeting. Well, she didn't ever come home from the hospital. And I had no idea that what had happened in that prayer was more of an impartation, kind of like a handing off of the torch. And from that point on, we became like every Thursday night we would open up the church, and it just kind of started. That's how God started things out in our marriage and in our ministry, was to have this little Bible study every Thursday night. And I kept saying to the Lord, okay, I'm going to wait until I'm going to do this Thursday, and then somebody's going to come along and take over for me. That never happened either. So
We're still waiting.
we have been faithful with the Thursday night meetings, and that's where that comes from. So,
Wow.
but we've, yeah, it's just been a real blessing, and we've just kind of grown into the areas where the Lord's led us. And,
Yeah.
we don't try and invent anything or run ahead of him, or, whatever's there is there. And there's so much work to be done. There's
Mhm.
just so many places where hands are needed. And I hear and see other ministries, calling out for help and support and volunteers. And I understand that. I
Mhm.
completely understand that today. And so, yeah, so we're very, very grateful for the people that support us, and
Yeah.
you guys coming alongside us and giving us the opportunity to share about things. So, yeah, like I said, we're here for whatever people need, I guess, in the North
And
End.
I think that's, I mean, just hearing you just share all of that, I think that's really the common theme, Jesus saying, "Love your neighbor." And
Yeah.
that's literally what you guys are doing, you're meeting people where they're at. You're going to them. If it's cold outside, you're giving them something to warm up, and like praying for people and really just getting to know people's hearts, treating them like they're people too, because they are people, that they might just have some different struggles, but you're just meeting alongside and you're trying to encourage them and let let them see God's light in your life. So I really love just that kind of emphasis that you guys put on. But I kind of want to go back to when you first started this. You said it was just kind of your husband's dream, kind of just to, that he would just be praying for people, and then it just kind of grew and grew and grew, and it's going to keep growing, because that's where we're going to just pray that the Lord is going to continue to move in the city. But how have you seen, because obviously this was a big passion for him right from the start, but now you kind of coming alongside that and you're like, okay, I'm just going to do the paperwork. And then that kind of turned into a little bit more, and that's grown as well. So how have you seen just that passion in your own life just continue to grow over the years?
Well, we've had a couple of really good partnerships. So one of the partnerships that we were able um, to kind of get in on was Zion Apostolic had a Bible study, not a Bible study, like a street ministry happening for a while. So we joined with them,
Mm.
and that period of time was such a blessing in my life. It was during the pandemic, but it was amazing because for the first time I got out there on the street alongside with my husband, and I met and experienced some incredible, people and situations. And, it's like I always say about getting over, getting used to maybe the dark places. We think they're scary, but once we get
Mhm.
there and our eyes adjust a little bit, we realize, oh, hey, I've been here. Oh, hey, I recognize this. Oh, hey, this makes sense to me. Like, it's not as scary as it seems. And it brought
Mm.
back a lot of um, just different memories for me and situations where I was there and I was telling the Lord at some point, in my walk early on with my own recovery and my own experience with alcohol and sobriety. And what I was saying, hey, you know what? I'm really hungry. I need somebody to feed me. Can you do that? Can you send me a friend, Lord? Can you send, And it was a normal thing for me. It was just a normal thing for me. And I recognized very quickly that that's why we are a ministry called the Courageous Hearts, because it's not just my husband going back, it's me going back too.
Mhm.
And so he kind of had to shake me up a little bit and wake up that, that recognition and make me realize, oh, hey, I have been here. I can do this. And I think that's part of what was my barrier, was I was thinking I was separate from it, or if it was different than I am today. I'm not. That person is very much there. That, because if we look at ourselves and we look at our experiences and we get real about them, we will recognize that we are no different than we were back then.
Mhm.
That same spirit, that same heart, that same person is still there, and we can relate to so many things if we allow ourselves to.
Right.
And we're the ones sometimes who put the labels and the separations there. And I just loved it once I got out there, and I got to see people, and it was just something that was very, very natural to me. And so I really appreciate that opportunity. I was very grateful to grow in that aspect, and now I just do more things with my husband, and I'm more connected to that part of it. So
Yeah, it must have been really cool just to see how this has all evolved, just being obedient to where God's leading both of you guys, and just being able to encourage people that just really just need that, like, just a little bit of support. So if
hmm.
somebody wants to hear more about the Courageous Hearts, where's the best place for them to find out more information?
You know what? We would love for them to come and, join us Thursday nights at 365. They can give me a call at, like, our number is always on there, 204 or like the email address. They can email me there as well, Spence at thecourageousheart.org. Any of those ways of getting a hold of us. I am on the Facebook under Virginia Spence, but it's a it's a it's a private Facebook. So
Mhm.
if I don't recognize you, I may not add you. Um,
So
but go
after they
to
come on
the
a Thursday, then they can add, and that'll work out.
Yeah, yeah. It's it's just a little bit of a security thing, and um,
Mhm.
but we'll connect for sure. Absolutely, we do what we can to connect, and I do have a on the Courageous Heart Ministries page, which is public. I do have a group there for the food bank, and I try and update it every so often and let people know when the dates are. But they're generally every 2 weeks, so we stay
Okay.
connected to Harvest. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that, and just excited to see how the Lord's going to continue to work with you guys in the city of Winnipeg.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share.